Good morning, class 8. In the last class, we have finished with the nature of the revolt. Then we finished with the different causes of the revolt, that is, the political causes, the economic causes, the social and the religious causes, the military cause, and the immediate cause. Now, today, and in the last class, I told you that I will be dealing with the rest of the chapter. So, on your own, I had asked you to just read over the main centers and the leaders of the revolt, the suppression of the revolt. All right, now we move on to what is left in this particular chapter, that is, why did the revolt fail? We now directly move on to the reasons why the revolt failed. So let us have a look now. First, as already pointed out in the earlier explanation, the revolt was limited only to the northern parts of India. The other regions of India was not affected by it. Hence, the movement failed to be on national ground. So, from here we see that the revolt did not have the support of the entire nation. In the earlier subtopics, also, we have discussed about it. So I think this point is clear that it did not affect the entire public or the entire population of the country. So, for this reason, since it was only associated, or since only a few people from the northern parts of India and the central parts of India, they participated in this revolt of 1857, hence it failed. All right. Now, the Indians, this is the second point, the Indians who rebelled and revolted against the British did not have good planning and strategies. So, obviously, if you are planning to, fight against the British, all right, if you are planning to fight against a common enemy, firstly, you would be planning. All right, firstly, you would plan, and then you would develop certain strategies how to go about it, how to achieve your goal. But here, the Indian rebellions, they lacked the strategies and the plans. They lacked in their tricks and tactics to fight against the British. Hence, they failed to achieve their goal. So, naturally, no plan, no good strategies. So, obviously, they are bound to fail. Thirdly, the Indians fought against the British with their obsolete weapons, which were no match against the highly specialized weapons of the British. Now, the third most important factor which led to the, you can say, failure of the revolt of 1857 was that the Indians who revolted or rebelled against the British, they used, very old and obsolete, very outdated weapons. Whereas on the other hand, their British counterparts, they had very sophisticated weapons. They had very highly advanced weapons. All right. This was the third reason why it failed. Now, next, why the movement failed miserably was because many sections like the ruling chiefs, the zamindars, the moneylenders, and the Rajput princes were very friendly with the British. So here you need to know that certain section of the Indian population had good relations with the British. It was not that, they always had, the Indian population had bad relation with the British. It was not so. Okay. So this way, they did not participate in the revolt. So naturally, if you're friends with somebody, all right, and some other people, they are revolting against your friend, you will naturally not join their party. Now, lastly, many educated Indians during that time showed indifference towards the revolt. Indifference meaning that we do not care, all right. They felt that British rule was necessary for India's prosperity. Hence, they totally supported the British. These were the reasons why the revolt could not be successful at all. Now, lastly, we drop down to the effects or the impact of the revolt. What impact did it have? Let us see. Since the revolt created a lot of chaos in the country, the administration of the country was withdrawn from the East India Company, and then the charge was taken up by the Queen Victoria of England. So here we see that since there was a lot of, turmoil or a lot of chaos was created because of the rule or because of the Raj by the British East India Company. Now what happened? The power from the British East India Company was withdrawn, and now the charge of the Indian subcontinent was taken up by whom? Was taken up by the Queen of England. Secondly, the Governor General, who acted as the head of the East India Company, now was replaced by the title Viceroy. So earlier, The title Governor General was in use. But now, what happened with the emergence of the Queen, all right, or with the East India Company withdrawing and then the charge being taken up by the Queen of England? Now, the title Governor General was replaced by what? It was replaced by Viceroy. The entire army was now properly organized. So here we see now the army, the soldiers which were, required in order to fight battles and wars. What happened? This, the queen, okay, after taking charge of India, again the army was reorganized. It was again formed. Next, the most important proclamation in 1858 by Queen Victoria brought a relief to the Indian rulers, which proclaimed that no further capturing of any state would take place. So, with this proclamation, now what happened? It stated that no further annexation, no further capturing of the Indian states. Earlier, what was happening? The British was, the East India Company was taking out measures and policies, which were constantly occupying and capturing territories of the Indian rulers. But now, with this proclamation by the Queen, what would happen? It claimed that no more capturing of the state would take place. Also, the Queen promised not to interfere in the religious practices of the Indian system. So, no interference, no intervening in any of the social or religious custom of the Indian public. These brought a sense of solidarity towards the Queen and her rule. Lastly, all the rebellions were forgiven by the British Crown except for the ones who were accused of killing the British officials. So everybody, all the people, who participated in the revolt, they were excused or they were forgiven by the Queen. But those who were accused or those, who were found guilty of killing the British officials, they were not, they were punished. All right. So, in this manner, we come to the conclusion and get an idea that though the revolt of 1857 was unsuccessful and did not achieve its goal, however, it was completely successful in planting the seeds of we feeling amongst the Indians and a nationalistic feeling among the Indians. So, this way, we come to the end of this chapter, and in the next days to come, we shall be giving you certain exercises. All right. So, please read through it. I hope you have understood. If not, please, once again, I would like you all to watch the the extra marks video which has been prepared on this chapter.